All right, today we are diving into a really fascinating, kind of counterintuitive twist in artificial intelligence. It turns out the secret to making a machine smarter might not be about teaching it more, but actually teaching it how to forget. I mean, think about it. An AI that remembered everything forever? That sounds like the holy grail, doesn't it? Like, imagine a digital assistant that remembers every single detail from every conversation we've ever had with it. It would be perfect. What could possibly go wrong with that? Well, as it turns out, everything. It would break. Seriously, a perfect memory would literally cause it to collapse under the weight of its own knowledge. And this paradox, this has been a massive roadblock in AI development for a while. So let's get into the problem with perfect memory. The core issue here is that an AI that remembers absolutely everything, it basically becomes a digital hoarder. It just accumulates so much information, relevant stuff, outdated stuff, totally trivial stuff, that eventually it just can't find what it actually needs when it needs it. And this right here is the AI memory paradox. The dream, right, is this AI with instant access to everything, perfect recall. But the reality? Oh man, the reality is a system that gets so bogged down by what researchers call retrieval noise that its performance just collapses. And it gets worse. It actually starts creating what are basically false memories, confidently spitting out incorrect facts because it's pulling from some old, totally irrelevant piece of data. Okay, let's put some actual numbers on this because it's pretty wild. There's this key industry benchmark, and when a standard AI starts a long conversation, it has a pretty decent memory score, 0.455. At this point, it's mostly coherent, it's pretty accurate, things are looking good. But as that conversation gets longer and longer, that score completely tanks. It plummets all the way down to just 0.05. We're talking a staggering 85% drop in performance. The AI is essentially just lost at this point, totally confused, and it even starts contradicting itself. And this is a perfect illustration of that false memory problem we were talking about. Look at this. In another test, almost 7% of an AI's responses were based on these old, outdated snippets of info that it really should have just forgotten. This is exactly where conversations just go completely off the rails. So, let's be clear. Researchers have known about this memory problem for a while now, and they've definitely been trying to fix it. But the first few attempts, honestly, they were kind of like trying to tidy up a hoarder's house without actually being allowed to throw anything away. Some of the early ideas were about organizing the memory better with these complex filing systems. Others tried to just compress all the information to save space. Some even tried to filter out new bad memories from coming in. But you see the pattern here? None of them were dealing with the real issue, that massive, growing pile of old, useless data. And that brings us to the breakthrough idea. Instead of just trying to manage all that clutter, a totally new framework came along with this radical, kind of beautiful idea. What if we just teach the AI how to forget? Okay, so the official name is a bit of a mouthful. The Adaptive Budgeted Forgetting Framework. Yeah, I know, sounds super complicated, but the core concept is actually incredibly simple. You give the AI a strict memory budget, like an allowance, and then you teach it a smart set of rules to constantly figure out which memories are important enough to keep and which ones, well, it's time to let them go. Now, this might look a little intimidating, but this is basically the blueprint for our forgetful AI. Don't worry about all the tiny details here, just kind of follow the flow. See how new information comes in, it gets sorted into a few different layers of memory, and then it passes through that key box in the middle. That module, right there, that is the real innovation. That's the brain of the whole operation, where the AI makes the crucial decision, what to keep and what to delete. All right, so how does it actually do that? How does the AI decide what to keep and what to just toss out? Well, it's not random at all. It actually follows a surprisingly simple and intuitive set of 3 rules to score the importance of every single memory it has. So here they are, the 3 big questions it asks of every memory. First up is recency. Basically, is this recent? Second is frequency. Is this something we talk about a lot? And third, and this one's super important, is semantic alignment. Is this actually relevant to what we're talking about right now? If a memory scores low on these, it gets pruned, gone. Okay, so that's the big idea. But here's the billion-dollar question, right? Does it actually work? Let's look at the proof. We're going to see how this new forgetful AI actually stacks up against those old digital hoarders when we put it to the test. First up, let's look at long-term performance. On this benchmark that tests how consistent an AI is in super long conversations, the new method scores a 64.3. Now, that's a really big jump from the best we had before, which was 58.3. It shows it can just stay on track for way, way longer. And remember that insane 85% performance drop we saw earlier? Well, this new method directly tackles that. On the retention test, our forgetful AI held on to 55% of its performance. That is a huge improvement. It's just so much more stable. No more catastrophic collapse. So the big takeaway here is pretty clear. The forgetful AI isn't just more stable, it's just plain smarter. Its overall accuracy actually climbs up over 83%. And maybe most importantly, that false memory rate, it drops from almost 7% down to under 4.5%. Bottom line, it makes way fewer mistakes. Okay, let's zoom out for a second, because this isn't just some abstract lab experiment. Why does this actually matter? What does a forgetful AI really mean for the tech that you and I use every single day? Well, it means that in the very near future, the AI assistants we have, on our phones, in our homes, at work, they could actually hold a genuinely long, complex conversation without getting all lost and confused. They're going to be more reliable, more coherent, and let's be honest, a whole lot less frustrating to talk to. So in the end, there's this really beautiful irony here, right? The path to a more intelligent machine wasn't about creating a perfect godlike memory. It was about building a more flawed, more selective, and ultimately a more human one. It really makes you wonder, what other so-called human flaws might actually hold the secret to the next big leap forward in AI?